Hey everybody, welcome again to Doug's Cars. I come to you today with this nice silver vehicle. Let's see, it's got a BMW engine, BMW frame, BMW interior. It's the new Toyota Supra. I just wanted to be the first to actually have this vehicle on a show on YouTube. It's not a Toyota Supra. It's the new 530i, the G30 530, G30 530, G30 530, G30 530. That's actually not as hard to say as I thought it would be. This is a beautiful sedan, for those of you who don't know what sedans are anymore because no one seems to be buying them. It is a fantastic luxury car to drive. It just whispers you along. You don't even realize how fast you're going in this car, which is interesting because it is a 248 horsepower four-cylinder. That's the base model. BMW has gone to this new numbering system that takes into account forced induction on their engines. So whereas the last 5 Series I had was an E39, so it was a 525, which is what I had, but they made a 530, which was actually a 3-liter engine. This being only a 2-liter is a 530. Now, that seems a bit odd, but that's just the way they do things now. The Germans seem to have gone crazy with this. They have done it in Audis with their 40 TFSI, 55 TFSI. In the past, that would have been a 4-liter engine or a 5.5-liter engine. Now, none of these things make sense. Mercedes, you are just as guilty, and I don't know why you can't just make this a 520 Ti or TII, to use your 2002 nomenclature from the 70s. Why not make this a 520i? There's a 530i in a 3-liter twin turbo or single scroll turbo engine that they make now. Why not? I love a great straight 6 in a BMW. I have one, but this is a 4-cylinder, something else they've been known for. So why not celebrate that? I don't know why they've gone to that extreme. But then again, they also seem to be building a Toyota Supra, which I never thought would happen in my lifetime. And well, this obviously isn't it. It's got 4 doors. But it has the same basic idea as the Toyota Supra, a BMW engine, a BMW interior, and a BMW frame. So you could say that this is a new sports car, but with a little more carrying capacity. And, you know, it keeps up on the road. It's not going to be as good as the Toyota Supra when it comes to speed, but it's not supposed to be. That's what you could probably get an M5 for. So then, again, this is the new G30 530i. There's a few great features on this car that I really want to show off, and I'll take it out on the highway too so you can just hear how quiet it is. And since this is Doug's Cars, and this is always a work in progress, I'm testing out some new equipment. So I have my new camera, I have my new microphone, I have an external camera mount that I can use now, and I just want to let you know that this is a work in progress and there's always going to be mistakes made. And if you see something that I could be doing better, please don't hesitate to tell me. I read every comment, I try to respond to everyone as well, and I just appreciate the feedback. So let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. Here we go. When you're getting a car this big, you want to make sure that you have plenty of trunk space. And while it has nice features like the auto remote open, or kicking your foot underneath sometimes, which seems to work maybe a third of the time for me anyway, this trunk contains something that no modern BMW has had in a long time, a spare tire. While I don't like run flats personally, this spare tire takes up so much room, it's here under the floor, in there, that it actually sits up that far over where the trunk floor would normally be. So you're missing out on like 5-6 inches of usable cargo capacity. I've just got some filming equipment here, and you know, it looks like you could only put in maybe 2 big suitcases and a couple of duffel bags. I just think that is a terrible oversight for what is a very good large sedan, and people are going to want to put a lot of luggage in this car because it is a big car and it was good on travel. You want to take this on the highway, you want to be able to go as far as you can go in this car, but you just can't. I don't know why the trunk is set up that way, why they couldn't move that tire down lower. I'm glad there's a full-size spare, but it is just not quite the same as, say, my M4, which does not have a spare tire and comes with a can of goo and an inflator, but that trunk is at least as big as this would be if it didn't have the spare tire, and that is, of course, a 2-door coupe. Now, one of the fun things that you can always do is show how big this car is. Now, it's not a 7 Series, it's just a 5, and I'm a pretty tall guy, so let's see how easy it is to get in the back seat of this car. See, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of room back there. And sure enough, I don't have very much room. This front seat is back fairly far, but even so, putting my knees in these little cutouts is okay, but I would not want to ride back here for very long. This is just not a great back seat for people who are tall. I have plenty of headroom, which is good. There's no sloping roofline like you might get in some of the, I hate to call them coupes because they're 4 doors, but the coupe sedans that a lot of car manufacturers are selling these days, especially the Germans. There's plenty of headroom, but this knee room just leaves a lot to be desired. And this heated seat control, that's not going to make it all that much better. Yeah, I'll use it because it's cold out, but I still don't want to be back here. I want to be up front because this is a driver's car. And that's the best thing about this 5 Series is it once again is a driver's car. The F10 5 Series was a good car, but that's where I felt it ended. We had one in my immediate family and I drove it regularly and it was a good car, but it was not a great car. This, in my opinion, is a great car. Whether it's they got the electric steering better, whether they got the suspension setup just more BMW feeling, it's just a combination of all these things. It's really hard to put a finger on exactly what it is. This just feels special to drive. That car did not. And that's what you want when you buy a BMW, is for it to feel special, not for it to feel like you're just in a Ford. Not that there's anything wrong with a Ford, but that's not what you're spending this money for. If you're spending $60,000 on a sedan, you don't want it to drive like a Taurus. That's why you would buy a $35,000 Taurus. So take with it as you will. This is just a much nicer vehicle than the previous 5 Series. At the heart of any BMW is the engine. And this is a 2-liter engine, 4 cylinders, 248 horsepower, plenty of room for that straight 6 and that V8 that they offer in higher models. But there's nothing wrong with this engine. It is totally smooth and it powers this car along way better than I would expect a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a turbocharger to work. It has a little bit of a 4-cylinder noise, which personally I prefer the straight 6 sound of a BMW. They just sound fantastic to me, and they always have, and to me they always will. This has a bit of that 4-cylinder drone out of the exhaust, but it's toned down fairly well. But it is interesting to see that underneath this, of course, plastic cladding that all engines have, you can see just from looking down here, there's a good several inches of extra room in front of this engine to hold those extra 2 cylinders of that long straight 6. And wow, that's a beautiful engine for what this car is used for, which is a daily driver and a vehicle to take on long trips. This is perfectly adequate, and it would be for anybody else, unless you really, really want the sound of that straight 6, which is really nice. So is the sound of that hood closing. Okay, driving the G30 530i, this really is a super comfortable luxury car. It's a mid-range BMW. This is no 7 Series. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of that car. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles available on a 5 Series. But what this is a simply relaxing, enjoyable car to drive, and it does feel special. Now, of course, the first thing you need to do is press that button, putting it in sport mode, so that when you drive it, the gauges light up in red. Because who doesn't want gauges that are lit up in red? Plus, it just makes the throttle response that much better. And this car moves. Just cruising along at speed here, late afternoon, winter's day. It really is an enjoyable place to be. The car is very quiet. The suspension is damped well. You don't feel a lot of the bumps in the road. It certainly isn't my M4, which would be a little bit more rough over this road, although it's fairly well paved. But this car just handles the curves well. The seat is nicely bolstered and holds you in place well. It's got the sport slide outs that you can use, and it just really is a nice place to be. You could easily spend 10 hours driving in this car on the highway and just kill 600 miles real easily. No problem, no questions asked. Your back would not bother you. The only problem is the luggage that you would need to have in that back seat, in that trunk, would be in the back seat. And who wants to do that? This car needs a bigger trunk. That is the main thing I take away from my time driving this car. The trunk is just too small with that tire in it. Again, I'm glad they put a tire in there, because if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and you get a blowout, like a true blowout on that run flat, it could be days before you can get another one. And who wants to deal with that when they're traveling? Especially in a car that's so easy to travel in. This is the car you want to take to travel in. So Spare tire, thumbs up. Tiny little trunk, thumbs down. Come on, it's got to be bigger than the M4. You can do better, BMW. We know you can. Well, I wanted to take this opportunity to show you my favorite feature of this car and to give you an opportunity to see the dash a little bit more. You can see the gauge is in red because they got to be just so. But this car is not a Tesla, and it can't do everything that those cars can do, but it can park itself, and this is a lot of fun to watch. So what I'm going to do is pull up here, and I've got a couple cars up here, and I'm going to simply pull up behind this car. I put the turn signal on. The turn signal has to be on for this feature to work. And when you come to a stop next to the vehicle, you press the parking button, you go through that, and then you do this, and it'll say take hands off the steering wheel, hold down parking assistance button, and release the brake. So as long as I hold this button down with my foot off the brake pedal, the car will continue to park itself. Look, Ma, no hands. This is actually my mother's car, so well, she knows that it does this, so I think I'm okay. But it's parking itself using the sensors, and well, it doesn't need the camera because it doesn't know, but we know. And it'll even pull itself forward and get it spaced evenly between the two vehicles. Now, the spot I chose, there's plenty of space, but I had to do this on a side street so that there wouldn't be traffic coming when I'm trying to film this. However, I have one new thing I want to show, so let's see what this looks like from the outside of the vehicle, because now I can do that too. Oh, it's so cool. I just love this feature. I don't have it in any of my cars. I don't need it. Nobody needs it really, but what a fantastic thing. And I've gotten it to work, let's say 9 times out of 10. It's a little finicky, but once you get it to work and you know how it works, why would you not use this? There's no reason to ever parallel park yourself. You can just set this and let it do its thing, and it is such a fun toy, and it's invaluable. It uses the sensors better than we can, and the reactions are faster than ours would be. You can always stop the system by hitting the brake, of course, but you don't need to because it does it so well. So let's go to that exterior video because I want to watch that too. So, on Doug's Cars, I always end the show with my final thoughts on the vehicle. And this time I'm going to do it while I'm driving because it's just such a fun car to drive. And one of the things I do is rate the car on the binary scale. And since this is such a great car to drive, I think it's the best looking 5 Series since the E39, which is a car, I had 2 of them, so you must know that I like them. And it's just a great driving car. It's a great place to be. It's so comfortable in here. It coddles you, but it doesn't feel soft like, I don't know, like a 1970s Cadillac. It doesn't have that fingertip steering wheel control. It is a fantastic car to drive. It's a fantastic car to ride in. It's a fantastic car to travel in, and it does everything well. So obviously, it's a 1 on the binary scale. And it's rear-wheel drive, which is something that I just really, really need to have in order to give a 1 to a car. It's just something that really sticks in my craw, is I need a 1 is a rear-wheel drive. But, well, there could be some exceptions to that rule. But this car is definitely a 1. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of your views and everything that you comment and like. And stay tuned, because there's another silver BMW coming this way shortly from Wichita, Kansas. And as soon as I get those travel plans set, I'll let you all know. And that is going to be an epic journey. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm not going to miss it because I'm going to be on it, but you're not going to want to miss that. So thanks again for watching Doug's Cars. Bye-bye.